for people to come in. And then we'll talk about the season that's coming up, which is I got a lot of sewing and quilting left to do. And the tree is coming up in here. I'm going to tell you all in a minute, as soon as everybody gets in here. Folks need to get in here first. So, how's everybody doing today? I tell you, I can't talk, because if I talk, then everybody asks what we're talking about when they come in, right? So, hang on a second. Hey, Kathy Acevato, Michelle Jones, and my Linda Betty Boo Bop. Did Corey ever get sorted out, Linda? Oh, that's good. Yes, it's my first cup of tea of the day. And I'll tell you why in a minute. I've had a headache ongoing for about 3 days, off and on, and I woke up with it this morning. And hi, Tigger. Hi, Wendy. Coco Bear. Yes, it has been a while. Suze B. Michelle Jones. Hi, Corey. You can get in here. I don't know why you couldn't get in last night. Hi, Michelle. No, he's. I don't understand why you can get in here, but you couldn't get in last night. Hey, Phoebe. You guys want to see? Do you want to see what that looks like when the lights are on? That's my new backdrop, and I couldn't have put it up without Howie. And the Christmas tree is going to go directly beside the boombox right there, so that you'll get most of the tree, but I will be kind of in between the tree and the door. Well, hey, yellow bird. Oh, I love it too. It's up in a little ponytail, and that's just the way I like it. I said I want it long enough to be put in a ponytail, but short enough I can wear it down if I have to. Hi, thank you. I'll go plug the lights in. Oh. Oh. These ones have to go. There we go. This is a whole different set of lights on this door, because I didn't have another set of these, but I had mini lights, and they're on constant blinking because this plastic is really thin, and those lights are pinned to the curtain, and I don't want them melting the plastic. So oh my goodness. Hey, Sue. Hi, Charles. Looks better at night. It really does. But then, like I said, the tree's going to go right here, so that you'll see the tree. We'll have the boom box. And that does not block. See, it doesn't block my door. So I can, in case of an emergency, I can get out. Right? I just shove that out of the way, open the door, and then push the magnet screen. And I'm out. Well, thank you. Hi, Janet. Thank you, Phoebe. All right, give everybody a couple more minutes to get in. And then we'll fill you in on what's coming up, what to expect over the next couple of months, okay? I'm in a lot of pain. Hey, Bender. Teflon. Hey. Hey, Raph. I missed the thing yesterday. I could barely move. Yesterday. How did you do at the low market yesterday, Raph? I told my husband my whole body is aching like a toothache. Yeah. Yes, it is, Sue Hagen. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it, Raph. So anyway, we're 40 people, so I can start talking now. Um, I added another light up there, so I hope I don't look as pink now. And okay. First off, I just got out of bed at noon. I woke up at 7 this morning with a really bad headache. I slept 7 hours. If you can believe that, it's so rare. I slept 7 hours without any help from lorazepam. Mind you, I had to take a couple of Benadryl because I was sneezing and my nose was stuffing up. So Howie and I have been dealing with the change of weather with sniffles and coughs, but nothing other than that, right? So I woke up and I said, Howie? And he goes, yes. So he said, I said, can you bring me some? I have these little tea biscuits. They're very, very plain, but if I've got a migraine, my stomach gets really upset. So Howie brought me some biscuits, and then he brought me a peppers and egg sandwich. It's just scrambled eggs with peppers and on toast, on a toasted sandwich. And he brought me breakfast in bed. And then when I was done and I was getting ready to get up, he came in and had a snuggle with me. Just because we don't sleep in the same bedroom anymore doesn't mean we don't need a good cuddle now and again. You know what I mean? But things are quieter now, and so the upcoming season's going to be busy, but in a different way. Okay. Howie at some point is going to be bringing the tree up, but it's not getting decorated until the 29th. Okay? It's a Saturday. We'll do a live decorating on the 29th of this tree in here. For 2 days, barometric pressure. Yeah, everybody's getting headaches. Mary Jane is still in the hospital because they still don't know how to figure her out. But as long as she's there, I'm happy because if anything goes wrong, it'll be on their heads, not mine. What's going on, Charles? Hi, Joe. Did you get my email? Yeah, we've had rain, freezing rain, and I'll tell you something. Remember that crappy weather when we were in the truck? An hour after we got home, our county road all the way to Chelsea had patches of black ice. There was accidents everywhere after we got home. Nice, eh? So, December 1st, I'm going to be doing my morning daily tea break on Life with the Wolfies. We've done it every year. We've always done it on that channel. So I'm going to do any scheduled videos will also be on Life with the Wolfies, but our morning tea break will be kind of like this, but it'll be at like 10:30 in the morning, 11 o'clock. And we always do that so that, I know, Charles, but it doesn't have to be about money either, right? Doesn't have to be about money either. Homemade gifts are always the best. And you may not be in the Christmassy mood, but you got to allow yourself to be persuaded into it, because I know what it's like when money's tight, right? The first sober Christmas was a nightmare for us because, sober means son of a bitch, everything's real, right? And we thought, when you sober up, everything gets better. Okay. So we were sober 6 months, our first Christmas, sober Christmas. And we had to get a hamper from the Salvation Army. You know what I mean? And it was that kind. But it was the first time I ever watched Howie decorate a Christmas tree with his kids. So it doesn't have to be about money. You got to look for the miracles in everyday things, right? Hey, backyard. It just put a little tree up. Yeah. Absolutely, Linda. There you go. I know it's, I know what robbing Peter to pay Paul can be like, right? But we are Christmas. We, the adults, are what make Christmas magical. And our Christmases have changed since, I became a grandmother and my boys are single and all that stuff. But the magic doesn't have to change. You just make new kind of magic, right? Yes, they did. It was my last tape, so my knees held, but I'm in a lot of pain today. I was in a lot of pain yesterday. So we will be doing our holiday tea breaks from December 1st to January 1st. And if I can't do one, it'll be because I'm of ill health or I'm not at home. But we will be doing our live tea breaks every day throughout the month of December up to and on the 1st of January, because there's a lot of people who struggle during the holidays. There's a lot of people who are alone during the holidays. And we've been doing that now. I think this will be year 3 or 4. I'm not doing fancy tea or anything like that. I'm just going to have a tea break, a 15, 20-minute tea break every morning on Life with the Wolfies starting December 1st, so that no one goes through the holidays alone. Period. Full stop. Right? I'm normally a pretty glass half full kind of person, but it's definitely getting hard to keep a positive outlook. Just fine. You know what? I have discovered, and I don't know if you've been here for one of these things, I've learned a new way to pray. Okay? And you don't have to be a Christian, you don't have to be anything. You can still talk to your creator without religion being involved. Okay? This is for the people. This is for the people who don't necessarily have a religion or a faith. But I'm going to tell you, everybody has faith. You just got to look for it. Right? I was in the hospital last December, so looking forward to this year. Oh, wonderful. What were you in the hospital for? Hey, Jarietta. Well, Coco Bear, I mean, I'm here too, right? I spend most of that, other than Howie and I, we spend most of December alone. We spend most of our lives alone. Howie's gone usually 12 hours a day, right? So you guys are as much a part of my life as I am of yours, right? Okay. So here's what I've learned. Okay? I don't ask God for anything anymore. I don't. I don't ask God for anything. When I pray, yes, I ask for the love and the light, but I don't ask for anything in specific because I've learned something. If you're asking God for something, you're assuming he hasn't already got it taken care of. And that's kind of insulting, isn't it? So here's what I do. And it's working. I slept last night. Yes, I was medicated. I had a cup of Mr. Noodles with cheese and decarbed herb in it, but that doesn't always guarantee sleep. And I'm sure the Benadryl helped, but that doesn't always guarantee sleep. But here's what I do. I go to bed and I start. And as you know, I look at Facebook and I doom scroll and I eat my snack and take my pills and all that stuff. And then when I'm ready to sleep, I shut the lights off. I roll over. I make sure Gracie's all snug up against my belly. And because until I roll over, she's up against my bum. And then I say, thank you for my dog, who's always there, who's always seen me through the roughest times. When I didn't need to hear criticism, I didn't need to hear advice, I just needed to feel loved, and that's my dog. Okay? And then I say thank you for my husband, the man who makes my life here possible. And that's not a vague statement. I mean, I couldn't have gone shopping the way I did on Friday. That was Howie's gift to me. Not once did he complain. if I wanted to go here and I wanted to go there. He knew eventually I'd run out of energy eggs and we'd be good. The man who brought me breakfast in bed this morning, the man who makes sure the stairs are shoveled and there's salt on them in case I need to get to the truck, the man who always clears the path of life so I can shuffle my penguin walk through it. Thank you for that. For the man who loves me more than anybody else knows how to, right? And then thank you for my sons. They've had their challenges. We've had our challenges, but they're good, honest, hardworking young men who take their responsibility seriously. Right? Would there be things I would change? Absolutely, but that's not for me to do or say. It's for me to be thankful for them. Right? And then I move on and I say thank you for my family, even the ones that don't speak to me, because they teach me how to receive love. But they also, the ones that don't speak to me, they've taught me how to love and let go. Right? Was it painful? Yeah, but it still happens. They taught me how to deal with people who just don't get you and don't want you in their life because they judge you. Okay? Thank you for that, because that taught me something. And then I move on to my YouTube family. I thank God for my patrons, not for the $5 a month they bring in or the $7.50 a month they bring in, but for they're my inner circle of folks that lift me up when I'm usually getting ready to melt down, right? So, and then I thank God for my YouTube family, even the haters. But I thank God for my YouTube family because you guys are my people that are here every day. Whether I'm sewing or baking or cooking or just sitting here having a meltdown, you guys have always been here. And then at the very end, I thank them for the bitch factory. Because the bitch factory taught me the hardest lesson of all, which is don't open the door to negativity. Because when you open it to look in, some of it's an exchange of energy. And if you look into that negativity looks into you. The abyss looks back. And that's an exchange of energy you don't want. So I learned to stop looking, stop picking at the scab that became. That was a raw wound at one time. It's not even a scab anymore. It's a scar I'm grateful for because it taught me a lesson, right? So I know there's a lot of words, but my prayer at night when I'm going to sleep is a lot simpler. It's thank you, God, for my dog. And everything that comes to mind, I say thank you for. Thank you for my family. Thank you for my sister and my brothers. Thank you for my kids, my husband, my dog. Thank you for my YouTube family. Thank you for my patron family. Thank you for the people who've taught me the hardest of life lessons. These are all things. See, I have gone from asking and not necessarily insulting, but asking God for things that I should already know he has in hand. I just have to be patient, right? I've gone from asking for to thanking for, because that's letting God know, I see you, God. I see you, Creator. I see how you have my back every single day. And that switches the energy like that, right? Yep, this family helped me out a lot last year and ongoing issues with my mom. Oh, you know what, though? And when someone else has a problem too, Wendy, it takes us out of our problems to focus on yours. That's the beautiful thing about that kind of energy exchange, is when we are praying on and lifting up and encouraging someone else, we are not in our own headspace of lack or negativity, right? I'm going to pop this chat out. It's on top chat. I haven't even popped it out yet. So, Oh, God love you, Joe. Did you get my letter? Hey, Kyla! Kyla is Angie's eldest daughter. Everybody say hi to Kyla. She's Angie's eldest daughter, and she lives out in Alberta. Um, I really can't look too much. Like, I'll look at TikTok at night, you know, but then I will shut it off and I will read A Tree Grows in Brooklyn or A Little House on the Prairie or something that I am really could almost recite blindfolded without the book, because it's comforting just to drop yourself into a place that is familiar and safe. A book, right? Yellow bird. So, I mean, these are the things we have to, Okay, so that's settled. On We're going to do our live tea breaks every morning between 10:30 and 11, or between 10:30 and 11:30, starting December 1st on Life with the Wolfies channel, okay? And we're going to do that starting December 1st, and we're going to do our last one on January 1st. It's kind of like when we used to go to AA, okay? We would go, Howie, darling, what was it called when we would go to Bronson Street on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve and stuff? The Alcathon. Thank you. It's been a while. Maybe we should drop in this year if we don't have any company. Yeah. We used to go to the Alcathon on the Alcathon is held in the Bronson place, and it's open from like the day before Christmas Eve, I think, or Christmas Eve all the way through to New Year's Day. And what it is it's a place to go for people to go, maybe people who are newly sober and Christmas is a trigger or whatever, but there's meetings put on. Howie and I used to go on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, and one of us would speak, and it was a way of being of service. Well, that's kind of what I have. It's my way of being of service to those folks who may struggle through the holidays. We can come together and be there for them and give a daily dose of, it's going to be a great day. Right? That's all it is. It's not an alcothon. It's our holiday tea breaks. So nobody goes through the holidays alone. It's that simple. Frida! Make sure no blue light in the bedroom. You will sleep better. I have no light. I shut everything off. I had to put this cloth over my speaker because it has a little green light on it. And I got rid of my one I got from Temu. Can you believe they want me to do more stuff for them? I'd be tempted. I thought about the couch. The couch, you cut the plastic, it goes poof. I thought about that, but what are we saying? I love book. I love reading. I can't go to sleep without reading, right? So I shut everything gets shut off. Even my computer, the little light on my computer monitor button has to be shut off. I grew up until I was 12 in the city where it never was really dark. And there's more fear in the shadows than there is in the complete darkness for me, right? Really, Wendy? I can't have any electronics on. I can, and you guys have heard this before. When I was working in the bakery and our house was our living room, and that was being renovated because we'd had ice back up under the roof and it ran down the walls and under the floor and all kind of water, right? And for a minute we had someone working for us, but weren't doing the job correctly. So Howie did it himself. But I came home from work at 2 one afternoon. I was 2 in the afternoon, and he and this guy and his buddy were working. And I said, okay, I'm going to bed now, so don't come in my room. And he says, you're not going to sleep through this. We're routering and hammering and sawing. I said, I can sleep through. I've been living in a house renovation zone most of my life, starting when my dad was always patching the house, right? I can sleep through construction. Unless it's next door and someone's hammering, it's echo. But in my house, if there's saws going and hammers going and staple guns going, I can sleep through that. I cannot sleep through the sound of a radio, even if it's really quiet in another room. One of the reasons why Howie came in and snuggled me is because the TV was keeping me, even though it was, it was time for me to get up anyway, right? Me either. The only noise I can sleep with is a fan, and I didn't even have that on last night. So, hey, Pauletta, Tina. So, we have more sewing projects coming up. I've got my table cleared. I couldn't find a blanket to line Arthur's quilt. So I'm going to use because it's so heavy with wool blends, I'm just going to use a flannel sheet for the liner and the Star Wars sheet on the back. Hey, Jennifer. And we had 2 boys. I slept with my fan. Yeah, exactly. Yes, hi, Kadeen. Yeah, my tinnitus has been really bad. I've been tapping my ears like crazy at night. The tinnitus is really bad. Sleep has been all over the place. Energy levels have been all over the place. But yeah, there's been a lot going on with the solar. And it amazes me when people like Bill Gates, who's now backpedaling, who knows he's a friggin', what do you call it? He's an IT wizard. He's not a weather specialist. He's not a bioengineer of any kind, right? So he's backpedaling. But people who tell you we need to block out the sun to cool the planet are evil, like fruits of the devil. You know what I mean? Why? Because the sun is where we get our energy. Our sun is our nuclear power station for us and the planet. Okay? You start blocking out the sun, what happens? If you lower our carbon footprint, what happens? Like here in Canada, lowering our carbon footprint is just redonkulous. Why? Because you need 30, I think you need 30 mature trees to negate. And do your research, because I know there's a 30 million kind of thing out there. Okay. So you need 30 mature trees per person to negate their carbon footprint. There's 40 million people in Canada, and we have 300 million trees. Do the math. Okay? Do the math. Those are mature trees. Okay? Why do you think they're being burnt down? It's all, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is, if you don't believe it, that's fine. You're not supposed to believe it, because that's your role in this whole play of what's happening on our planet, right? The sun fuels us like a power station, but the perfect power station, okay? And the trees absorb the carbon. Why? Because it's their food. And they give off oxygen. So they're blaming the forest fires on climate change, which is just climate change is the worst statement that you can call what's going on, because climate change has always happened, always will. The planet is a living, breathing, aging, changing thing every single day, and we are a part of it. We are part of the ecosystem. We are not on it. We are not above it. We are part of the ecosystem. Okay? So if you start blocking out our energy, and you stop feeding the trees. Like, yeah, there's countries that absolutely need to be dealt with pollution, right? You look at countries where they're you can't see across a football field from one end to the other because of pollution. There is a pollution problem in a lot of countries. Yes, Canada ain't one of them. Right? So don't blame the forest fires on climate change. They're creating the forest fires so they can blame it on climate change. Just saying. Yes, it's always a kid. Hey, Lori Lazor McChesney. Hey, Sherry. Renita. So you think about that, okay? These are the same people that gave us the food pyramid. Do you remember the food pyramid? Where meat and lard and all that stuff, the butter and eggs were at the very top, where you should only have one serving every 3 days or whatever the hell it is. But on the bottom, they wanted you to have 12 servings of grain products a day, or starch products, or you know what I mean? What a joke. People are starting to realize that you can live on meat and eggs and cheese, which sounds really good if I had the teeth for it. Yeah, it's totally upside down, the food pyramid. So why should we? Yeah, well, that's exactly it, Jerrietta. That's why, but there's people, right, from like my dad's generation who just look at this all and shake their head because they were raised on the government telling you that everything was going to be, we're here to help, we're the government, right? I don't think the US and Canada need to worry about polluting with much okay, this is exactly, Charles. We need like for instance, where was the big fire? Howie? Where was that big fire way up north that wiped out the whole town? And they'd been telling them for 10 years that they needed to clean up their forestry? It's like Banff or something. Okay, but I'm talking about Northwest. God, isn't that awful? Jasper, thank you. Jasper. Huh? British Columbia, okay? They had been telling forestry, you guys got to see, this is something I remember living in Ontario, okay? I remember that if there was a tree branch hanging over a power line, all you had to do was phone Ontario Hydro. It's not Ontario Hydro anymore, but you'd phone them. They would come and they would cut that down. I know because when we bought our first house, we had 3 100-year-old maples in our front yard. And before we moved in, they had come and cut a whole bunch of the maple branches. And we went over because we'd bought the property, and we pulled all those maple branches off the side of the road and put them beside the house because that was going to be firewood. So one of the first things I mean, they were always looking after, things so that accidents wouldn't happen, that trees wouldn't come down on power lines. We moved to Quebec, and the first thing I noticed was all the trees hanging over the power lines, brush and bushes in front of stop signs. I said, and deadfall everywhere. Deadfall everywhere. If forestry manages the forest properly, they clean up the deadfall, they take out anything that's dead or tender, right? And all that stuff, they could friggin' wood chip it and put it right back into the woods. It don't matter, right? But if they had looked after their forestry the way they did when I was younger, Jasper, Jasper, and they were telling the government for 10 years, we need help cleaning up all of this deadfall. It's a tinderbox waiting to happen. They were ignored. What happened? Jasper burned to the ground. Right? Exactly. California. Look at California. You're between Kingman and Vegas. Oh, I miss Vegas. I miss Vegas. I love to play Texas Hold'em. I haven't played it in a long time. I was pretty good at it though. I actually got to the point where at one point I was the last man standing between, and I was the last one out before the, head to head in a tournament. And I got like the last man standing pool of like $95 kind of thing. But anyway, so I know, Sherry, I know. Hey, Laura. So, and don't think they can't manipulate the weather, because they can. Right? I just watched a TikTok last night. You know how they have no fly zones over the North and South Pole? And there's people out there that believe the Earth is flat because that's the way the maps used to be and all that stuff. And I'm not denying that could be. But I keep my mind open to everything. And I watched a video of a man from a long time ago who said in 1970 something, some pilot didn't fly over the North Pole. He flew into the North Pole, right through the center of the Earth, and came out the South Pole. And he said the inside of the Earth is a whole other world. And that's why it's kind of like you can't go through there, because it is a whole other world. And the prime directive is you don't interfere. Like, there's all kinds of really cool stuff out there to speculate. We don't have to believe everything they tell us. Open your mind, right? Snowshoeing tomorrow. Oh, right on. Hi, EJ. So, don't you think if the Earth was flat, the cats would have pushed everything off the edge? But they have some interesting concepts. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think the Earth is flat, but what do I know? I only know what I've been told. So, do you remember the movie, Yes, Virginia, There Is a Santa Claus with John Boy? And the little girl who played Virginia actually grew up and played Ginger Snaps. Anyway, which is kind of odd, because I have a cousin who's named Virginia, and she goes by Ginger. It's really kind of weird. But anyway, I forgot what I was saying. I forgot what I was talking about. But my point is we don't have to believe everything we're told. If people can't fly over the North and South Pole, if there's no fly zones, there's a reason for that. And yeah, there's weather modification equipment. They've been doing that for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. Okay? The society that we live in on this planet today isn't the only society that's ever lived here. This planet has been wiped and rebuilt more times than we will ever be able to comprehend. They've just rebuilt societies all on top of the old ones. Right? So, anyway, there's just things to ponder, things to think about. So, here's what's coming up. I'm going to be quilting on the quilt frame. I'm going to be tying Arthur's quilt on the table, and then I'm going to be working on Howie's quilt. And then I've got dishes to do. I'm sitting down in between my loads of dishes here. And so there's going to be baking. There's going to be decorating. I'm just not going crazy like I used to, because I just can't anymore. Most of my family is either gluten or dairy intolerant. So I will be making special fudge for Arthur and Briar. I'll make peanut butter fudge, and I'm going to make peanut butter chocolate fudge. And I will bake our snowballs and our shortbread and our oatmeal raisin cookies and all those things. And Howie will get to take a plate into work. Oh, yeah, we're going bowling this year. We're going bowling. I'm excited about that. I don't know why I'm excited, because I can barely walk. How am I going to bowl? But I'm going to bowl, right? So, hi, Rosie. So, the holidays are coming. But one thing is for sure. On Life with the Wolfies, we will have our morning tea break starting December 1st. Nobody needs to go through the holidays alone. Okay? I have to get up now. I have to clean my floor here. I have to sweep up. I got to empty garbages. I got to do dishes. And then I got to lay out Arthur's quilt and pin it all together on the table. So I know, Lisa. That was the that was the thing that was the effect I was looking for, was a gingerbread house, because we were going to do a float for and then I looked at the size of the trailer and it wasn't big enough. And B, Howie needed his trailer to put his car on for the winter. And C, it would have taken all my house decorations for one day. So we decided just to, Howie parked the motorhome right up beside the garage instead of in front of it. So because you'd only get out one shot as you were coming by, but now you can see more, right? So hi, Creation. I bought chocolate chips before they went way ridiculous. Well, I'll be shopping not this week, but next week. And I'm going to be buying my baking stuff. So we are chocoholics. You know what? We bought that little chocolate cake, and I had Howie cut a third of the cake. His cake was only this big around. He cut a third out, and then he cut the third in half, and he took the bigger half, and I still couldn't finish my piece. I love chocolate, but only in small amounts because it's way too rich for me, right? It always has been. I love chocolate, but only in little bits. But I think my favorite chocolate bar, I'm going to agree with my dad at this point in my life, is a Jersey Milk. And I haven't seen them around. They're just milk chocolate. Cadbury's Jersey Milk. Oh, see, in Canada, our chocolate, I'm gonna say this, our candy and our chocolate is way better than the United States. Way better. Because ours come out of the old families in England. And England and Canada, probably Australia, have some of the best candy in the world. Like, I remember watching the Osbournes, and Ozzy ordering chocolate from England. And he opened a drawer and he poured it all in, all these chocolate bars and stuff in there. And he goes, because you can't get good candy here in the United States. And I looked at what he was pouring in, and there was like Mars bars and Snickers and Cadbury Jersey Milks and Caramilks and yeah, that's the kind of candy we get here, chocolate we get here. So they're not called candy bars here. They're called chocolate bars for a reason. Chocolate is only good if caramel is well, you know what? I'm really careful because I can only eat so much chocolate, and especially like something like a Snickers or a Mars bar, because there's too much sugar that spikes me, and then I go goofy. My sugar goes up, and then boom, it crashes really quick. I have reactive hypoglycemia, so I'm really, really careful. They're not going to be putting me on diabetes meds preventatively. I won't allow it, right? Oh, well, Brussels. Now, come on. Okay. When I'm talking about North American candy and where it comes from. Everybody knows, other parts of the world have great chocolate. I'm just saying, when it comes to Canada and the United States, Canada's candy and chocolate bars and stuff way outstrip the United States. They really do. Hey, how's it going, firefighter and medic? It's Lisa or Tina, right? In moderation, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hershey? No, I love Hershey's. Yeah. Hershey's, the Hershey's chocolate cake that Angie made and that I make occasionally is dark chocolate. Briar got me onto this. We'd go into the drugstore or something, and he'd buy these fancy chocolate bars. And I'd say, Briar, that says cayenne pepper. He said, Mom, wait for it. And give me a little piece. And he said, now just put it on your tongue and let it melt. And it was like, wow. The Terry's chocolate oranges. Well, they have different kinds of chocolate, that have different flavors and spices in them, and it makes them dark chocolate a whole other experience. Anyway, I like plainer stuff, right? I like my little tea biscuits that are really low and they're not very sweet, but I like them with a little bit of butter on them and then put another one on top like a little sandwich. See, I'm not a huge sweet eater. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, listen, folks, I'm going to say goodbye for now because I got some stuff to do. For all those who care to, please help me close with some spiritual nourishment. You don't have to have a faith, you don't have to have a religion to actually enjoy the blessings that we thank God for every day, or the creator, or however you connect to your faith and I'll connect to mine. Okay? All right, so here we go. Deep breath. Hey, creator, source of everything, God, whatever you want to be called. Thank you, God, for bringing us together today so that we could share and uplift and be in each other's light, the light that you fill us so full of, God, with your love. May we all walk forward filled with the light of your love so that anybody else who can't find the light may see it in us and step into its shine, because all love is God's love. Yeah. Thank you, God. Thank you for everything I thank you for every night, and thank you for bringing us together in love and peace. Okay? Amen. Namaste. Peace be with you. Merry meet, merry part, blessed be, miigwech. Walk in the shining light of the Creator's love. Doesn't matter what language you use. Language of love is the most important language of all. All right? I love you guys. Take care. God bless. Mwah. See you soon.